Nice
How
to
we
meet you there.
doing?
I'm just doing great, thank you. So I will quickly. I already introduced briefly what's going on today for the community. Like long story short, we speak kind of like few sentences English. I translate this to Russian, and we continue this way. So yeah, hey, welcome. Welcome to Cosmos Voice weekly community calls, one of the longest podcast shows in the Cosmos ecosystem. The first one is only, the second one is Flix Talks. They are very close. They started 3 weeks after we started. So yeah, so feel free to introduce yourself. I'll tell the community, and we'll move on.
Hi, good morning or good evening to whoever's with us. Thank you for joining. My name is Patrick Wiley. I'm the CFO over at Migaloo Foundation, where we have White Whale Protocol and a handful of other apps. So glad to be a part of this.
I'm sorry, just for a second. CFO, this is financial officer, right?
Correct.
All right. So tell us a little bit more about White Whale, or your part of what you're doing at Foundation. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'll start off with what I do there. I joined in June of last year. I've been in the DeFi space for 4 years, and I was given the opportunity to take my expertise and put it to work for Migaloo Foundation. And so I handle all of the accounting and financial strategy over at the foundation.
So you said you are in DeFi for about 4 years for now, and what initially attracted you to like White Whale or the Cosmos in general?
Yeah, so I was OG back in the day on Terra Luna, before the crash. White Whale was a protocol there, an arbitrage platform, and I was an early investor in that project at that point. And after the crash, they then redeployed as a chain using Osmosis SDK. And that's really where I kind of got more interested in the Cosmos. And I mean, I was already there via Terra Luna, but I really kind of got involved in the ecosystem after that crash.
I see. I think most of the Terra community got involved since this terrific crash. Yeah. All right. So can you tell us? Did you find already? Have you found already your audience here? Have you found your like community? Did you have your product discovery, or you're still looking for something? Like how everything's going?
Yeah, well, I think one of our key strengths with White Whale and Migaloo is that we have a very strong community. We brought a lot of people over post-crash from Terra, and then also a lot of the cosmonauts as well too. And so I think generally across the board, the market hasn't been treating most of Cosmos well, but I think we engage our community, and we're always constantly either handling their issues or trying to like implement the requests, and we do weekly community calls. So one of our strongest assets, I think, is our community. So I think we found our product market fit, and now it's kind of navigating these, I think, pretty difficult territory in terms of the market.
I just said to the community that I want to ask you a little bit more about this product discovery, because it is really something like tricky at the moment to find what's your like spot behind the sun, where you can apply all your skills in the best way to do something interesting, to extract some value, to bring something on the table for the community, and to enjoy the process in general. So what do you think? What are your current thoughts on Migaloo's like nearest future?
So I think one of the things that we bring to the table is the fact that we're a community-run chain with this, which is Migaloo, and then we have our DEX, which is White Whale, which is a cross-chain deployment DEX on Migaloo, Osmosis, Terra, and other deployments. And being a community chain and a community DEX, we kind of we like guys, so we like, helping out the little guys and bringing them on to find liquidity. If you're a project that needs liquidity, talk with us. We have incentive contracts for liquidity, and we can open them up wherever you'd like to be deployed, since we're on a couple of different chains. And then I think the other thing is that, like our platform, White Whale, we don't take profits off that. It's all redistributed back to our bonders, and we can touch on that after you translate this.
All right. So like to sum this up in few sentences, in few words, basically now you currently got a chain, got a DEX managed solely by the community. And in case any project want to jump in, have some like liquidity, some incentives, you could provide that by the will of community, right? And also you got some deployments on the different chains such as Osmosis, Migaloo, probably Terra Classic or Terra, like Terra 2.0.
Both of them.
Yeah. So let's get back to these bonders. It's quite an interesting thing, but still it sounds like some kind of common distribution model, like as to from these collected fees to stakers, and some fraction goes to the community pool, and it's
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, it's something that's been used before, but what makes ours unique is that we reward time. So the longer you are bonded, the bigger slice of the pie you get. So our DEX has all these different deployments, and you can bond to each one of the DEXs using our whale LSDs, of which there are two. And the longer you are in, the higher your multiple. So there's trading fees and there's protocol fees. The protocol fees go to the bonders, and that creates a pie. The longer you are in, the bigger distribution you get of that. And in that makes our bonding system quite unique.
Wow, that's impressive. I'm wondering how
it's pretty cool, man.
How foolish I was that I haven't heard about that before. All right. All right. Yeah. Can you please provide a little bit more details on derivatives? You said there are two different ones.
Also, maybe if it's possible to share the screen and show how it works for our community.
Sorry, I keep on muting in between. Here, let me, I'll share the screen here. I already have it pulled up. Perfect. I'll do that. So yeah, let me, this is the bonding page on our White Whale DEX for Migaloo. And I'll just refresh real quick. And how it works, so I'll touch on the liquid staking derivatives, because this also gets into our ecosystem. We have two primary partners. We have Eris and Backbone Labs, and they provide our liquid staking derivatives. And those liquid staking derivatives can be bonded here on our DEX. And this is on Migaloo. So you can mint the liquid staking derivatives and then bring them to our DEX and bond them to get your APR. And the longer you're bonded, the higher your multiple. So you're also securing the chain, but you're also earning rewards, or fees from our DEX. Does that help kind of sum it up a little bit?
Sorry. So basically, we're choosing the time to bond, or is it like compounding? Like, so for example, I'm locking today, and with with discounting, my APR goes up, or I can choose the time which I would like to bond right now.
So
I
bonding, the other
I missed something.
yeah, the other cool thing about bonding is there's only a 1-day unstaking time. So the tokens, those have a longer unstaking time because they're staked to the network. So if you want to unwind them, you can either swap out of them or you can mint them to get fresh ones. And so you're earning a compound rate on the native inflation on our chain. And then on top of that, you can be earning fees by bonding to our dexes. And then you can choose different deployments. So like, I mean, to me, I would go around and like you go look at Terra, 63.11%. So you can go to all of our different dexes and then you could allocate however you see fit to each one of our dexes depending upon the APR. So you're getting staking inflation and the trading fees.
Almost got it. Can you please clarify for me one more time, because I still can't get it, how my APR increasing like along the time goes?
On the liquid staking derivative or our DEX?
Is it different?
Well, they're two different things. So if I have whale's our native token, and you can either choose to vanilla stake it or you can liquid stake it, and that's the first rung. And then you can get it. So if you liquid stake, it's a auto compounding, so it's an APY, and then you can use those to bond to our DEX. So you're getting the APY plus the trading fees.
Got it. But how you said that your rewards goes up by the time goes?
Oh yeah, I can get into that if you want to summarize it into how this.
Yeah, I will translate. All right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's get back to that time-based.
Yeah, exactly. It's a key component. So now we've got our liquid staking derivatives, liquid staking tokens. We've bonded them, and now how does the multiplier work? So the bonding mechanism is measured in a range of time called an epoch. And when the epoch is measured and snapshotted, it takes a global snapshot, and it measures like how long you've been in, and then it redistributes the rewards accordingly based on time. So I think it's every other day. This takes a snapshot. It measures how long you've been in, and then every bonder, it has a measurement for that, and then it redistributes accordingly. So the longer you're in, I mean, we have people that this number here is well over 100% because they've been in for like a year. And this is like a 1 or 2x multiple on their APR. So that's kind of the, in a nutshell, how it works. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Does it work like this? So basically, we stake our tokens. We're getting an APR. We can liquid stake that to get an APY plus make it liquid, and with that we can, like, let's say, bond it again, right?
Yep.
And we're getting this APY plus this time weighted bonus. Perfect. With daily snapshots for the distribution.
Yep. Perfect summary.
Wow, that's impressive. I'm really curious how may I miss this?
Yeah, and I mean I can go into so the other part of this is like DEX, but we also have a chain. So these rewards are buying back our whale token. So the DEXs provide constant buy pressure on our DEX. And I think right now we have 6 or 7 million across all of our DEXs, and our market cap is like just under 2 million. I've never seen a market cap TVL ratio quite like that. And so the other aspect to this is this daily buyback, and then we have inflation. We are currently buying back our daily issuance of inflation via our DEXs. Does that make sense?
Basically, selling pressure doesn't affect the price because you're buying back the tokens using protocol fees, right?
Yeah, in a better market, I think it would probably work a lot better. But that's where you basically buy back and redistribute our daily inflation by how our DEX is up. And then you can then take those rewards and you can compound your bonding position. Or, and we can get into this afterwards, there are many other places to use Whale and its liquid staking derivatives.
Getting back to tokens, you have 6 or 7 million tokens across DEXs or liquidity.
Correct. Yeah, we our Terra is by far our biggest deployment, of where we have, I think, close to 3 or 4 million there. And that can get us into a whole nother topic of conversation. But yeah, our white whale, the DEX, is a core component of like how our chain and value capture system works. We have inflation, and we try to reach enough volume on our DEXs to buy back daily issuance and redistribute to our bonders who've been loyal and have been there for a long period of time. And then from there, there's also additional places where you can use these tokens, and I think that can take us to some of our other ecosystem and opportunities with Whale.
All right, let's proceed to the other opportunities apart from White Whale chain.
We kind of got a core idea of like our DEX. You can bond, you can add liquidity as well too, and be a liquidity provider. I'm going to kind of go back to like our chain for a second and tell you a little bit how some of that operates, because we've got some unique things there. We do a lot of experimentation on Migaloo, which is our chain, of which White Whale is deployed there as well. And one of the biggest things we've experimented with is the Alliance module that was created by TFL before, just after the crash. And what it allows to do is it allows you to use a portion of your inflation on your chain and direct it towards specific assets. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So what we do with that, and I'll head over to this is our Migaloo Command App. This is where, if you're a user on our chain, where you can come in and you can see all our major metrics. You can go to general, you can see tokenomics, you can see everything that you need to see all from one app. And how we use this Alliance module is that we have 3 distinct buckets or gauges for our Alliance module. And that's towards a specific liquidity pair, Whale WBTC, a system we call Restake, and then another one called Perpetual Incentives. And I can kind of touch on each one of those and what they do.
Got it. And it works as on curves gauges, basically. So you vote on where this inflation fraction will go towards the specific asset from your inflation. And so there are some voting periods from time to time. You re-vote for those, and you can adjust the parameters, right?
Yeah, and one works like that. The other 2 are kind of static and have been set by governance. Like Restake, and I can get into Restake DAO. Restake is one where you can actually, users can go in real time and adjust their votes. And the other 2 are set static, and they were set by governance.
Got it. All right. Can you please tell us a little bit about the categories? I think it's native, Alliance, Restake.
Absolutely. So so native is exactly what it sounds. That's staking native Whale, or if you're liquid staking, so that the APR is all listed here. And then our core Alliance is we are trying to bind Whale to Bitcoin. We want to be a source of liquidity for Bitcoin. And I mean, that's, a core asset of most people's portfolio. And so what we've done here is Whale WBTC, which can be acquired by depositing that LP on Migaloo. And I'll let that load in the background. And when you deposit, you get the LP token. And this LP token, you can natively stake. Now, this is locked up for 21 days. You can natively stake this, and currently you're getting 75.53% APR on it. And how this works is we went we were definitely experimenting, but what we did is we did a 50% reward weight, which comes out to about 30% of inflation. Additionally, it also has a 50% take rate, and that gets distributed to stakers and the community pool. So this gives good rewards, but you have to maintain it. But it's also redistributing whale BTC liquidity, not only to stakers and validators and delegators, but also to the community pool. So it's building protocol-owned liquidity.
Interesting. At the moment, what does that mean? 5,000 or 5279 or like what's that? What's
that's the LP token balance that's been staked in Alliance.
Got it.
So that's our core alliance. And then there's another category. We have Restake. What is Restake? So Restake is an interesting portion of our inflation that we utilize, and it's close to 5 or 6% of inflation. And this is where users can go to Restake DAO, and they can stake here, but we also now have it here on this page. So you can go here, and you can get voting power in a token called RSTK. That's Restake token. And when you stake that to this DAO, it gets you voting power on how to direct the yield to the restaked assets. And this voting is instantaneous. So like when you vote, it happens immediately. So all of these tokens here, anything labeled Restake, are LPs or single assets that users have voted for with their voting power from Restake here. And that directs yield to those LPs. So projects can come in and they're like, man, I need to get liquidity. I need to get incentives. This is a way where you can acquire Restake, you can stake it, and then direct inflation towards your LP token.
It allows to allocate which kind of asset. Like, for example, let's try to make it as simple as possible. For example, I'm a protocol owner. I want to list my asset and make some inflation distributed towards my liquidity pool. So basically, I'm going there, and I have to purchase this RSTK token, or like. So I'm purchasing Restake token. Then I bond it, and after that, I can vote on the distribution of protocol inflation. Or
exactly, yeah. You being a holder of Restake can directly vote on how its allotted inflation is directed towards these different assets, and that can happen here, or you can do it on our Command App, or if you're a power user, you can do it through DAO or the CLI. But yeah, that's exactly it. So you're either someone like a project, or you're just a power user and you're like, I like this particular project and I want to personally direct inflation towards that.
All right. So yeah, this is interesting, and there are some DeFi primitives I haven't heard of before. It's like some of existing ones, but much improved, and which are like more flexible to obtain some more control and some more rights in the protocol management, and like.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of see inflation as we've seen it in proof of stake networks are all going towards network security, which obviously makes sense, right? But you can think of inflation as your budget, right? You have a certain amount of inflation that's going to happen. And typically we generally 90% goes to validators, delegators, 10% to the community pool. But you can with Alliance module, you can partition your inflation towards specific goals. And that's kind of what we've spearheaded here is we see inflation as a budget, and we want to not only secure the chain, but we want to bring people to the chain. So that's kind of how we're playing around with like Alliance module to turn over our inflation into a budget, basically.
That's really impressive. I I hope that you will succeed in like getting more liquidity and users, because it's just like out of topic. I will translate this like real quick and get back to my thought. That's what I wanted to say is when I see some solutions, some DeFi, like the way how people mastering DeFi tools, I see that it looks so impressive when community could be literally in control. Many people, like people in general, most of them take this flexibility and like, let's say, freedom is granted, and I don't like it, but I can't blame them, but I don't like it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I mean, we've been experimenting with this for some time, and I'll just kind of finish up one last little thing on this alliance because we have one more bucket that's interesting. It's an alliance, and it's also managed by Restake DAO. So Restake DAO, we have a sub DAO that's an operational multi-sig, and it controls another alliance, and we call this one perpetual incentives. And essentially, it has an alliance, it has a token that's been allotted a certain amount of inflation, like 3 to 4%. And these rewards are then chosen by Restake DAO. So if you're in Restake DAO, you can vote on how and where we deploy those rewards as incentives. So every month we claim them, and then we go to one of our LSD providers, either here, and we can utilize Whale, or this is something else we can get into, or we can utilize Backbone for AMP or B-Whale, and then we can deploy them as incentives on any of these pools. Or, and this can get us into another topic, how we're currently using them is we deploy them into Liquidity Alliance, and this is a whole nother thing that we'll have to get into, and we incentivize our pools over here. So every month we get about anywhere from 150 to 250, and we deploy them as incentives on our pools on this other Liquidity Alliance on Terra 2.0. And that was a lot, so I'll stop there.
I'm sorry for simplifying everything. I'm trying to simplify everything you're saying. Just want to understand it at some very, very base level from the very first look, because it looks like we're having this very wide playground of very different DeFi primitives. So yeah, my question was basically this sub-DAO accumulating some staking rewards or any other rewards, and then Restake DAO decides where this will go as an additional incentive, like kind of source of incentives, right?
Yep.
All right, so you got huge pile of tools also, not only on Migaloo, also on other platforms and the areas and some others.
Yep, exactly. So, and that's kind of what we were talking about before, is like, so what can you do with Whale, right? Because that's what matters at the end of the day. What can you do with your token? If it just is inflating and it's just staking rewards, it's just gonna inflate away. So you have to give the inflation somewhere to go. Yeah, I'm gonna use a lot of hand movements, and so we've got, you can bond it. There's one place. You're longer in, the bigger the oh, nice moves, dude. The longer you're in, the bigger the multiple. Or you can go provide liquidity on our alliances, either via Whale BTC or Restake. Or if you want to take your Whale or your Whale LSDs from either Eris or Backbone, you can now play around, and this is a whole topic of conversation, in Terra Liquidity Alliance. And this is kind of like what we were talking about before. They have created 4 unique buckets of inflation. One for stables, one for projects, one for blue chips, and one for single assets. And it kind of works the same way of what we talked before, where like voters can come in and they can lock up Luna and they get voting power. And every week they can decide on how that inflation gets directed towards these 4 buckets. And I'll kind of pause there, and then we can kind of go into how we plug into that.
All right. Probably we had to start with that, how Whale works in this particular place at Terra, where Whale comes to play, because there's I have to lock Luna, but where's the Whale? Why this, let's say,
why is this important to Whale? So there's Astroport pools and there's White Whale pools, and this is on Terra 2.0, and we have all of these pools listed. And the foundation, which I'm a part of, we have like 23% of the voting power, and then our community. And every week we vote on these pools. And these are the APRs that you're getting on these pools right now. With a 1.22 million staked, you can still get 98%. Now, this is not Whale, right? But you can get Whale paired pools. So you can bring your AMP Whale, those liquid staking derivatives from Eris or Backbone, and you could do a Whale LSD, Whale LP, slightly less volatile. And now you can get 72% on it, 89%. Or you can pair it with Luna and get 146%. And we, the foundation and our community, vote on these every week. And then the foundation also incentivizes them. So you get paid for where you vote. These numbers here represent the APR you get just for voting for specific pools. And every week we top up those incentives so that we can get liquidity going to our dexes, specifically for not only just our pools, but also blue chip pools. So that's kind of like how we plug it into our system.
That brought me to the idea that voting power from time to time really matters, because you could just plug in to some other project and start incentivizing pool, which work on like a top of different protocol, which is like kind of interesting. All right, how do you manage to keep everything that in your brain and still be able to think about anything else?
That's a great question. I will say this space can be a little bit all-consuming, but I'm getting better at organizing all this through like spreadsheets and dashboards on my end, and monitoring our incentives, our voting power on there from the foundation, of which I work for Migaloo Foundation. So yeah, it is definitely a lot to manage. But just to also showcase, so this is our Migaloo Foundation DAO and how much voting power we have on Liquidity Alliance. And we have 1.8 million of 8.25 million. So the foundation, which is in charge of development on Migaloo and White Whale DEX, controls almost 22% of all the rewards right here, rewards per year, that can be distributed to all of our pools. And that's just us. And if you include our users, there's more. So we have a very strong foothold in directing the available rewards to all these pools every week.
You mean basically White Whale community controls like a decent pile of the Terra current supply, incentives, voting power?
Yep, through what's been offered through what they're calling Liquidity Alliance. Community, it's the foundation, but obviously we do it, we're working in the interest of the community towards like building out liquidity for our DEXs and opportunities for our users.
22 or 23% is Terra voting power, right?
22%.
Of Terra's voting power.
Of the allotted amount of inflation towards these buckets. So not the total change, just only what's been allotted towards the Liquidity Alliance.
Oh, got it. That's Hydro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, now the other thing that I think we're really good at, we're experimenters, we're community run, and I want to integrate the cosmos. I want to cooperate across all these economic zones. I don't want to infight. I want competition, but I also want to plug these systems in together. And we spearheaded, and our CTO got this off the ground for us in terms of getting us a spot on here. But he kind of secured us a spot on the initial pilot rounds on Hydro. And we were in the first round, or the first round and the second round. You can see us here. And we basically plugged in, which is trying to source Atom liquidity, into Liquidity Alliance. So they deployed 10,000 Atom to our, let's go here, White Whale, to our D-Atom Atom LP, and then staked it on Liquidity Alliance. And now Hydro gets 30.83% on a single asset, where like it's a LST against the native token, which is fairly low volatility, minimal IL. And so we plugged those in, and we paid incentives out for these with our tribute, and we had participated in all the current rounds so far. So we're trying to plug all these systems in together, and I think that's another thing where we're all about cooperation and like meaningful competition.
Got it. I really like appreciate the approach of trying to connect some things which weren't connected before, and trying to also get the different opportunities instead of like sitting on the like just inflation as it is. As you said, you will just can overinflate this, and that's basically sounds like the not really good option.
No, you got to do something with your inflation besides just securing your chain. It has to be put to work. Security is important, but there are other things. Liquidity is important, and users are important too. So yeah, we're trying to put it all to work and connect all these systems together.
Absolutely. I'll translate this real quick, and we probably gotta sum it up. And maybe if any of our participants have some questions also.
Yes. Hello, friends. I have
Hello.
questions. Yes. Just don't want to interrupt. Listening, very interesting. I also use Migaloo. Maybe Migaloo have something like ambassador program, and how common users, if they want to contribute for the development of Migaloo, can join for the development of Migaloo, not from the side of the provide liquidity, this is the like a functionality, and not from the side of the program development, if users not the programmist, but if they can spread information somehow or join the community and became active members. Do you have something like incentivization for this?
Currently, we don't have much in that regard, like Zeely Quest or Galaxy Quest. That is something I think that we could work on and start implementing. I think the easiest way to hop in is to get in a community call, which we have every single week, and kind of get familiarized with it. But I do think that's something that we could work on, is like providing incentives to like spreading the word and getting involved. And that's, I think moving forward, we have a good system, we have a cool system, but it's complex. So we need to make it easier and simpler to use. And then also, work with incentivizing our users in ways that can help them spread the word.
And second question is about Migaloo functionality. It's not only Migaloo, and we see that you have a lot of chains. And for example, one of the pools with the incentives from Dungeon, we see the Dungeon and Atom pool that is checked by the Osmosis, and people can provide liquidity, for example, in Dungeon and Atom, and get incentives in Dungeon. So any whale distributions for such pools, and if no, how it works together with Osmosis, when I can provide liquidity on Osmosis and directly see it on the Migaloo. Is it connected somehow, or is it just redirecting from Osmosis to Migaloo and back?
Any pools that are on our white whale DEX on Osmosis are also connected into the swap router on the chain level of Osmosis. So if you go on Osmosis and you're swapping to Dungeon, it's going to see our pool as a route. So you can choose either venue. It doesn't matter.
Is the rewards from white whale and inflation from white whale is distributed by the pools that it's not on the white whale, but for example, on Osmosis, or not?
Do we have incentives on our pools on Osmosis? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, do we have a white whale token distribution on the pools, for example, which are deployed on Osmosis, for example, Dungeon and Atom pool?
Currently, we do not. That is something that we do have a stockpile of whale that's reserved just for incentives, and that's definitely something we could do, because Dungeon is a big partner of ours. We validate. We're a validator on the Cosmos Hub, and we also validate their ICS chain. So that's something that could definitely be done, because they are a core partner of ours. They're going to be launching their Cosmic Quest game, and we're going to be one of the first chains that it's deployed on in terms of like their NFT backend. So could definitely be explored in the future.
This sounds great. And you was telling about maybe a launch Zilli quests or on any other platform as the BBloco Galaxy, and we invite white whale to Centrifuge platform. This is the same as the Zilli or BBloco Galaxy, but you don't need to pay any funds. You will have the same quests. You can also choose the rewards, but it's Web3 and for the Cosmos people.
No, that's true. Yeah, we need to look into Centrifuge, and I'll be working with myself and our communications lead DB to look into these options. And that's something that we definitely need to work on to kind of like incentivize users. And there is only one other thing I do want to at least mention before, because I know we're getting probably tight on time, and this is just more about future developments. And that's our biggest thing that we have going in the pipeline. I just want to mention it before so we can get more questions in, is a token called WhaleX. And that's going to just go back to this alliance here where you can stake Whale WBTC as an alliance asset and earn rewards. We're going to turn this into an auto compounding LP token called WhaleX. That'll be earning the reward rate and have the take rate, but it's going to sell the rewards and buy the underlying LP. And that's going to be coming out probably by the end of this month. So that's like our biggest thing that we're working on right now.
All right.
Any other questions, or any questions that y'all have or y'all's community has?
Yeah, we did ask community and haven't had any questions yet. One of the community members sent Migaloo Foundation DAO's own link and your link tree. So we had it covered. And yeah, I think this is pretty much it for today. There's a lot of things to think, to let's say digest this huge pie of different DeFi primitives. I think you brought a lot of on the table to, like, like almost literally to digest.
Yep. No, I mean, it's we do have a complex system, but if you can, users can hop in and they can be a part of this system, this like digital governance that we're building out.
Absolutely. There are many things where you can be involved using whale token, and not only just like participate, and also to be incentivized for your participation. This is a really cool thing. I just want to say, like, thank you for joining us today. It's quite tough to jump from one language to another. Well, there are
did a
a
remarkable
lot of
job.
kind of, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Like, because there are like so many things to understand and try to like convert this into the understandable short form, or not only short form, like extract to the community.